position. What a nail! As Jonathan Bostic just separated Mike Willie from the football.
All right, you already know what it is, Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. It is me, the illustrious one, Professor Lake, in the building, fresh out the kitchen, man. And today we're doing another film session. I think this will be the last one of the off season. And today we're going to cover Joe Lowry, offensive tackle from Ohio University. And we're going to also take a look at Chuck Harris, defensive end, defensive tackle out of Buffalo. Now this is a double feature. I just happened to run across the tape because one of the guys said, man, you know, Joe Lowry might be somebody we need to take a look at. And lo and behold, they played Buffalo, and I was able to catch both of these guys on tape. So we're going to take a look at it. But before we do, you know what I do right around this time. It is Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. I am the illustrious one, Professor Lake. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Chill. Be a Fourth Quarter Boy for life, man. Hit that notification bell for me, dog. All right, let's jump right into it, man. Right now, the first person we're going to take a look at is Joe Lowry. He's 6'7", 310 pounds, a 3-year starter. He ran the 40-yard dash in 5.35 seconds. So my basic scouting report on Joe Lowry is that he's, let's go with the negatives first and we'll end off in the positive way, is that he's not a mauler. He needs to keep his base when making contact with defensive linemen. He tends to lunge at defenders every once in a while due to not moving his feet. A lot of times you also catch him catching defensive linemen. Now I didn't get an opportunity to check how long his wingspan was, but sometimes this is a product of having shorter arms at the offensive tackle position. You'll find that defensive tackles will get inside of your chest. So I don't know if it's because of a physical thing, but I've just noticed that he was catching a lot of blocks, you know. His ball get off could be better. He wants to be a mauler, but he is not a mauler. So I do like the attitude. I do like the mind state that he does want to manhandle people. But make no mistake about it, he is not a Quentin Nelson, but he wants to be a Quentin Nelson, okay? Positives, man, he has athleticism to pull around the formation and size up defenders as he gets to the next level, all right? He has the vision to pick up blitzers, and he's a great help to the tight end and the guard when you're doing tandem blocking. Again, you know, a good attribute for him is that he's a good partner to block with in running and passing situations. Now, Chuck Harris is a defensive end, defensive tackle out of Buffalo, same school that Khalil Mack hails from. He's 6'4", 255 pounds. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.63 seconds. He had 12 sacks in all 4 years combined, 149 tackles in all 4 years combined. He played 3 seasons of organized football. His last season as a senior was a little injury prone, so I don't know if that had something to do with his performance in this Ohio game, but there were definitely some things that I want to point out to you guys about Chuck Harris. But overall, he just hasn't been a dominant player, in my opinion, looking at this tape and then, you know, just kind of going into a little bit of study about Chuck Harris and how he fell out of the draft and became an undrafted rookie free agent. Again, my quick assessment, negatives first, and we're going to end off positive. He's not a quick twitch guy, so it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy to redirect himself in small spaces and make tackles for losses that often. His football stance puts him at a disadvantage coming out the three-point stance. I think he's a little bit better when you stand him up. His reaction skills, in my opinion, are a little bit slower and leaves more to be desired. He does not appear strong. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that will overpower some inexperienced offensive tackles. And with the size and the speed and the athleticism, you'd think that he'd show that on his tape, but he just never really dominated. You know me, I'm really one of these guys that When I look at defensive players, I like to describe their tackling ability. Some guys are ankle grabbers, some guys are draggers, and some guys are thumpers. He fits right in the middle, in my opinion. He's a dragger. He's not really an impactful tackler. He will try to drag people down and has an occasional missed tackle, and that's just not good, in my opinion. Playing up front, those things are to be expected from your front line. Good tackling, and to thump these running backs and to thump these quarterbacks that want to run through your defense. The positives, I just think his positives are his size, his athletic ability as far as speed, and I think he can recognize plays. He's just slow to react to the plays. So let's check it out. All right, first play, Joe Lowry, a left tackle, doesn't really get his hands on the player. He sort of lunges at the defensive lineman instead of moving his feet. You see him kind of overextending instead of moving his feet laterally. At this point, you want to see him punch that defensive lineman with his left hand and follow that up with lateral movements with his feet. Instead, he sort of lunges. Again, Joe Lowry, the left tackle. You'll see him pulling down the line, has good athleticism to get upfield. He moves straight down the line, gets to the second level. When he does get to the second level, I'd like to see him maintain that block a little bit better. Left tackle. Doesn't get a lot of movement. The defensive lineman stood his ground. Again, Joe Lowry at left tackle. Doesn't really have the greatest ball get off. You see his head go to the left-hand side. He was looking at that outside linebacker for the blitz. That little hesitation allowed a stalemate. Again, lunging. As you could tell, he's not really moving his feet that much, and this is what happens. You gotta follow your contact up with moving your feet and extending your arms. Now here's Joe Lowry showing his strengths, getting to the second level, opening up a hole. Offensive lineman 101, find somebody to hit. You see him keeping them feet moving. See, keeps his feet moving, extends. There you go. Now, like Joe Lowry, when he's double teaming, he's a very big help to the guard or the tight end. Look how Joe Lowry and the guard just washed that nose tackle down the line. Here's another example of a good double team. You see him on that D tackle, just eliminates two guys inadvertently. Look at this. You take that defensive tackle, you take him to the second level, and end up blocking another linebacker. Nice play. Here he is in pass pro. Nice help. Shadows the defensive tackle. Doesn't panic, doesn't overextend. Keeps his feet moving. He stays with the D tackle. Again, we have Lowry pulling around the edge. Nice solid block. He shows that he has the athleticism to be put in this type of situation. Helps the running back break containment. Nice block. All right, first play, Chuck Harris. Guessing with his feet, not with his eyes. You want to see him make more of a football play than this at the NFL level. Here's what I don't like about Chuck Harris. I don't really care for his stance. This is a losing position right here. Just screams lack of ball get off. It's not coming from a position of power. And this is something I noticed, and you'll see this throughout the film session. He's reading. You saw the slow ball get off. Loses contain. Let's take another look. You really want to see him fire off and still maintain containment. Again, poor stance, poor ball get off. He's just catching blockers. He's not firing off the ball. He's just standing up. He's losing power. You want to see him fire off this ball horizontally. Instead, what you see is slow ball get off, false stepping, catching blocks. All right, here we go. All right, he's reading the play. Just not impactful on the tackle. All right, you reading the play. You're squeezing down well. Now get in that hole and make an impactful tackle. All right, Chuck Harris. And he gets washed down the line of scrimmage by Joe Lowry. It's definitely going to be a battle to look at in training camp. Let's take another look. Yeah, you got to be able to be stronger in those situations. Again, this stance is really bothersome to me. And he's just not showing great athletic ability, in my opinion. This is not a position of speed or ball get off. And some players would have made that play by now. Now, in this game, Ohio didn't pass that much, but Chuck Harris is really not much of a factor in the passing game. He's pretty ineffective as a pass rusher. He spinned right back in to being covered. At this stage of the pass rush, you either want to see him do that spin move now, or you want to see him angle off the house straight to the quarterback. He has better ball get off at the 2-point stance. Right at this point, you want to start seeing him making his move. Maybe a spin move would have been more beneficial here. Maybe a stab to the chest of that tackle would have been a good move. Instead, he continues upfield. At this point, you want to start angling off the house with a line straight to the quarterback. I mean, he has his man beat. Now it's time to dip that shoulder and rip. He decides to do a spin move right back into getting blocked. Again, there we go with that poor stance. It's not a position of power. A lot of his playing is coming from a poor stance. And here's an opportunity to make a play and he misses the tackle. You know, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable from a defensive end at this point in the play. You got to make those tackles. This poor ball get off. That poor stance just ruins his pass rush. I mean, I know players are out there making this play. He needs to get a better football stance, a better position to be ready to make a play. All right, these are the Chicago Bears, new undrafted rookie free agents. Just want to give you a quick look so you can have a better idea of what we're going to look at during this preseason, and just seeing why some of these guys are undrafted rookie free agents. Obviously, what you do see a lot of times is unfinished products, guys that you don't really want to just throw in there in the starting role because they do have deficiencies. There's a lot of room to grow for both of these fellas. I think it'll be an interesting matchup in the offseason, in training camp, just seeing which one of these guys wants it more. Again, Joe Lowry, it's hard to find offensive tackles. I think those guys are developed over time in most cases, if you're not going to draft one in the first or second round. So you definitely want to stash you an offensive tackle just in case someone gets injured. But he has room to improve. Again, I think he needs to improve on his ball get off. And again, you know, keeping his feet upon impact will do wonders for Joe Lowry's game. Again, make no mistake about it, he's no Quentin Nelson. He's not a mauler. He wants to be a mauler, but I don't think he'll ever be one of these guys that becomes a perennial Pro Bowler. More of a guy that's going to work his way up the ladder to being a serviceable backup, maybe take some reps should, a starter get injured, but definitely a guy that's worth taking a look at. And maybe, if he could do well in the offseason, making the practice squad. Chuck Harris, on the other hand, I was really high on this guy before I took the tape, just reading and seeing some of the things that analysts were saying about Chuck Harris. But I just didn't see that dominant force that I think you need to see from either one of these guys, for that matter, at the level of football that they played. I just don't think they were dominant enough to be impactful players at the NFL level. When you're drafting guys and you're signing guys from schools like Ohio University, Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, we're talking about schools like Akron. Schools like this really got to be careful because the competition level isn't as high as in the Big Ten or the SEC. And you really want to find out if these guys are going to be able to dominate. And if you don't see it on their tape, what would give you the inclination that they could do it even in the SEC or in the Big Ten or some of these other major conferences. Hope you enjoyed the film session. You let me know what you think about these two guys in the comment box. Let me know if you think they're going to make the team, if they're going to be on the practice squad, or if they're going to end up on the dreaded waiver wire. So with that in mind, I'm the film session king out here, man. You know what I mean? See these guys out here try to do me, man. It is what it is, man. But with no further ado, man, it's Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. I am the illustrious one, Professor Lake, in the building once again, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Chill. Be a Fourth Quarter Boy for life, man. For life, man. Hit that notification bell, man. Let me know what you think. Joe Lowry versus Chuck Harris. Holla at your boy. I'm out.
And this is, what a nail! As Jonathan Bostic gets separated, Mike Willie from the football.